Thank you.
Huh? Oh, that's a good question. In Albuquerque, I don't know. There's lots of places.
You can try green chili.
Solely, I don't think the first time.
Yeah, try that. I don't know.
First time. Okay, so you're telling me to head that way? All right. All right, you got it.
Thanks, have a good meeting.
You too, thanks.
That's not recording.
That's a joke.
Didn't hear anything.
We need, can we just cut Mr. Smith's microphone off?
Everybody else can be unmuted.
ready when you are.
Okay, we're gonna call this meeting of the New Mexico Racing Commission. Regular meeting. Today's date is November 17th, 2022. It's 9 a.m. in the morning. Ms. Chowski, can you do the roll call, please?
Sam Bregman,
Ringing in here.
David Hossie Sanchez,
Here.
Billy Smith,
Here.
John Buffington,
Here.
Margaret Branch.
Here. Okay, next on the agenda, item 2 is Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. I'll note that we have Denise Chavez and Richard Bustamante present. Our executive director, Trejo, is via Zoom. He's a little bit under the weather. We hope to get better soon. Mr. Trejo.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thumbs up. So next is the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda, commissioners, or anything you'd like to talk about as the way the agenda reads now? Nothing. I don't hear anything from the commissioners. Okay. Next, moving on to item. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as it is. So move, Commissioners.
Second, Buffington.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously. Item number 4 is approval of the minutes of the October 20th, 2022. I assume that all the commissioners have an opportunity to review those minutes. I have. I don't have any changes to the minutes. Anybody else? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of October 20th, 2022. All those in.
Second, Buffington.
That's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Next is the chairman's report. It will be extremely brief today. I want to, number one, thank our staff at the New Mexico Racing Commission for all the hard work from top to bottom, side to side. You guys do a great job, and I really appreciate it. I know the entire commission does. And we're very grateful for all the time and energy you put into making New Mexico racing the best it possibly can be. Second of all, I want to remind everybody, and I think it's a nice thing, it's a good thing that we do not have a meeting in December. We have a meeting in January, but the December meeting has been the tradition, I think, for a little bit of time now. We don't have a meeting in December. Let's everybody get caught up a little bit, as well as making sure our workload doesn't get crazy during the holiday season. So I appreciate that, the fact that we do not have that. So everybody, our next meeting will be in January. I also want to point out that Tuesday's a big day at 𝐨IA. We're looking forward to that. There's going to be a lot of good races going on, and I encourage everybody to spend the time or take the time to go out to 𝐨IA and participate in Great New Mexico racing this weekend and on into Tuesday. That's a big day for them. And finally, I want to say that just as an update, I think most, if not all, of the commissioners are aware of the fact, but I want to point it out for the public that the federal lawsuit, which was filed by the Horsemen Association, naming individual commissioners as well as the commission, for the most part has been dismissed, and I think there's one count left, but every commissioner individually that was sued, that has been dismissed. Any claim for damages has been dismissed. The number of counts were dismissed, and so that case, for all intents and purposes, at this point, except for one remaining small claim, which I imagine there'll be motions on continuing, but for the most part, that case is over. Next, and I just want to thank everybody, including the commission, for everybody's hard work and going into 𝐨IA, and then we're looking forward to the meets as they go to the different racetracks coming up in the new year. And I know we face a lot of challenges here in New Mexico as well as nationally when it comes to the racing industry. The implementation of HISA continues to pose challenges to everybody. But I know that if we continue to work together, New Mexico will continue to be a great place to raise horses. So with that said, I'm going to move on to item number 6, the agency director reports. Trejo. I don't hear you. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on a second.
He muted himself.
Unmute yourself. I still can't hear you. Oh, for some reason it's not working.
Hold on a second.
Hold on just a second. We'll keep working. Now start over again, Mr. Trejo.
All right, I think it allowed me to unmute there. Can you hear me, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners?
Yes.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Sorry about the voice, but nonetheless, as the chairman mentioned, HIS and 𝐲𝐬𝐬 are coming along. I have a planned meeting for them or with them on November 29th at Sunland Park Racetrack, and we hope to have Sunland Park management there with us. We're going to discuss the logistics of their testing facility and see what may need to be done as far as upgrades go or accreditation and so forth. But we've been having discussions with them regarding the voluntary implementation agreement. That's kind of just rolling along modestly. No moves have been made by either side, but we've had good discussions with them. They're grateful that we're willing to talk with them to possibly move forward, working in tandem with them. But not only do we have to work in tandem with the federal organizations, we need to work in tandem with the racetracks and the stakeholders of the industry. So we're looking for this to be a cooperative effort all the way through if we're going to make it work. As far as �ZIA Park goes, yes, a big day coming up on Tuesday, November 22nd. A lot of good horses are coming in, and good horsemen and jockeys coming in from different parts of the country. It's nice when we can attract those types of characters to New Mexico to participate in our racing. We've always said the money's great here. The money we should attract good horses. I think we just need some minor changes to our model for us to be able to grow our racing product here in New Mexico, because its field size is down at �ZIA Park this year, handles down. So that's expected. We don't have the horse flesh in the state to use as many races as you like, and field size goes down. So that's to be expected. But in closing, I just want to wish everyone a happy, safe holiday season as we roll into it. It came here pretty quick, and thank you, commissioners, and for all your support always. And love coming to work. Got a wonderful staff that I work with every day, and they just bring a big smile to my face, and I appreciate them dearly. But I stand for any questions, Chairman.
Commissioners, any question of the executive director? I don't have any either. I don't see any questions from the commission. Mr. Trejo, thanks again for appearing. I know you're not feeling well, and we appreciate the dedication to this information.
My pleasure.
Next, the breeders, Mary Barber. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Okay. So for �ZIA Park, in their first 16 days, they ran a total of, I did not bring my glasses.
You want to borrow these?
No, I better not. Anywho, they ran 26 thoroughbred overnights, 19 quarter horse. Thanks. Okay, I'll borrow yours. Oh, those are good. 11 quarter horse trials, 8 thoroughbred stakes, 7 quarter horse stakes, for a total of 71 restricted New Mexico bred races. The New Mexico horse breeders contributed $1,063,000 back for those purses. And this is about $192,500 more than in 2021. They are averaging 4.44 New Mexico bred races and are plus 23 for the 3 of them. On the average field size for New Mexico bred overnight races, the thoroughbreds are averaging 6.93 horses per race. The quarter horses, 9.11 horses per race. And for a combined average field size of 7.85. Not too bad. For New Mexico breds running in open overnight races in their first 12 days, which is why I believe at the time of this report, 213 New Mexico breds had run in open overnight races, and of those, 66 came in first, second, third, and that is 31%. And $62,610 was contributed back into those versus for those horses. There were 34 thoroughbreds and 32 quarter horses. I also visited Zia Park for New Mexico Cup weekend. I got to see an ostrich race, which was pretty exciting. I'd like to thank Zia Park for their hospitality. I was able to set up my booth in the turf club, and I got to visit with a lot of really great horsemen and breeders, and it was a really great day. I also was invited to visit a horse breeding farm and go visit the stallions, and it was a wonderful visit. I will have photos of that in our next issue of our magazine that will be coming out in a few weeks. We do have a Facebook page, we have a website, we have a newsletter that goes out every other week, and we have a magazine to help to get the word out to people in our industry, and we're very proud of those things. We try to educate people on our program and how to get involved. We also sent one of our award checks this week. It came out to just under $4 million. I'd like to thank Commissioner Buckington for supporting our program. We'll be getting a check here in a few days.
Not a big one, but a
Not a
check,
big one, but you'll be getting it.
just in time for Christmas.
I'd also like to thank Commissioner Smith for coming to our last board meeting. We had a wonderful visit with you. Ralph Vincent was there. He's a member of our association, and he's put a lot of time into building a task force with people throughout our industry, not just breeders, but owners, trainers, jockeys. I believe Dustin Dix, racetrack manager. We also have a racing secretary, a horseman bookkeeper, and we're all getting together and trying to work on ways to improve our product and to improve our full crop. And he's got a lot of great ideas, and we'll have more information for you soon. We're putting together another group of information that I'm going through to show some statistics. So far in 2022, for the racetracks, are averaging 50 New Mexico bred entries per day. And that does not include the also eligibles. So we only have 9 or 10 races a day. That's about 50% of the population. So we're always striving to make things better, to change, and to improve.
Any questions from the commission?
I'd like to make,
Mr. Smith.
I was impressed the way your association is operated and run and very professionally. You think there's any legs to that idea I threw up there about breeding the mare in state and letting it go home and foal out? You think there's any legs to that?
I don't know. I think it's a little scary prospect for a lot of our members to do that, but as time goes on, I think it's more and more possible. I think we're also looking at changing our percentage on our award incentive fund to attract more stallions and more broodmen.
You voted on that, didn't you?
Well, the board voted on, that would be a statute change, and the board voted to proceed trying to go in that direction.
Doesn't cost the state any money, it's just a little.
Yeah, it's just changing the funds that we already have and how we distribute those.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Larry, thank you. And I would say that I appreciate the fact that you invite some of the commission to your meetings. That's extremely welcoming, and I like that. I also would suggest that the breeders, as we continue to evolve in this industry, keep an open mind about the issues. For example, that Commissioner Smith just raised, and I look forward to hearing. I know you will be, but I look forward to. We're having a discussion at the end of the agenda about the state of New Mexico horse racing industry, and I look forward to hearing from you some more of that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, and you are all welcome to come to our board meetings. They are open meetings, and everyone is welcome to come, and we would love to see you.
Great.
Okay?
Thank you.
In fact, we're having one December 14th. It starts at 11 a.m. if anybody wants to come.
Okay.
Okay.
Good to know. And where's that meeting at?
It's at our office here in Albuquerque.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all right, we're gonna move on then to item number 7. And the first thing is 7A, which is basically our proposed commission meeting dates for the 2023 year, and this is for the first half from January through June. The actual dates listed would be January 26, 2023. Albuquerque, February 16th at Sunland Park at 9 a.m., March 23rd in Albuquerque at 9 a.m., April 20th at 9 a.m., May 18th, 2023 at 9 a.m. in Albuquerque, June 15th, 2023 at 9 a.m. in Albuquerque. Are there any questions or concerns about any of those dates from the commission? Not seeing any, I'd entertain a motion to approve the proposed dates for the first half of the 2023 regular commission meeting dates.
So moved, Mr. Smith. Second, Buffington.
Any discussion? Seeing none. That's been moved and seconded. And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. Going over to item B, 7B. This is the approval of the 2022-2023 Sunland Park Stewards. We see the list in front of us in your packet. And we were able to review their resumes as well. And I'm very grateful for their willingness to do a very tough job to all of them. Any questions or concerns about any of the stewards that are listed in the Sunland Park meeting? Not seeing any, I'd entertain a motion to approve the following stewards for the entire 2022-2023 Sunland Park meet. I asked this Gary Terrian, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing his name, David Lupo and Larry Fontenot. I'll entertain such a motion.
We'll move, Commissioner Smith. Second, Buffington.
Okay, that's been moved and seconded. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously. We'll move on to item number C. Mr. Cook, welcome. Good morning. From Albuquerque Downs.
Good morning,
Good morning. Go ahead, sir.
Chairman, Commissioners, Don Cook with the Downs at Albuquerque. First, the approval for 2023 import Tomcat schedule passed tonight.
So I had a chance to visit very briefly with you and some of the other tracks before we started this meeting, and I pointed out the fact that different tracks are getting charged by different amounts by different tracks across the country. And I didn't know why. I guess it has something to do with how much handle is going through on the simulcasts at the various tracks. But you want to add anything to that?
We were in a co-op, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, the whole western part of the country was in a co-op. That since faded away. Now we negotiate our own contracts. So for instance, NYRA, New York Racing Association, they negotiate for 17 different tracks. I believe they do Arizona Downs, Canterbury, Evangeline, Hoosier Harness. And I think in 21, they were charging us 4%. They came back and wanted 4.5% last year. And Beth said, no, you're not going to pay 4.5%. So she negotiated 4.2%. So if you look at our schedule on the NYRA tracks, most of them were at 4.2%. So we do negotiate our own track, our own contract. I don't know if it's based on money, Ben.
We don't know.
I would probably say no to that, but possibly. But
In our packet, we have the list of all the, because there's several tracks today asking for approval of that. It's not that I'm not willing to approve it, I'm just saying that I would suggest that there's some deals for some of you to be made because of what some other tracks are getting those other tracks rates.
Yeah, but
That's something to look at, and certainly I know this office has for you, everybody's rates that they're being charged, so something to look at.
is when you negotiate with NYRA, they do Saratoga, Belmont, Aquita, you're pretty much, you take it or leave it. You know, that's their attitude.
That kind of negotiation.
Well, yeah, or Churchill, you know, they
Yeah.
charge us 11% for the Derby. Well, they can charge us 30%, we're gonna take it. We gotta take it.
Don't say that.
Well,
They can charge Albuquerque.
Look like that. Yeah, that's.
Just raise the issue because I think it would be nice to see a little bit more uniform that they're treating every New Mexico track the same, all the other tracks, right? But
Correct.
enough said. Any other questions from the commission of Mr. Cook on the import simulcast approval?
I have a question on TVG.
Yes,
What days are they gonna pick up us?
It's that
I think it's going to
for us.
late,
it's,
you know,
for-
half the card or something.
it's for us, it's hit and miss. We're on TVG or TVG2. So it's really up to.
When they have a gap for
Correct.
something, okay.
Right, when we run, we're going against Del Mar, we get into Del Mar, and of course, we ran during the day, we go against Saratoga. So it's gonna be hard for us to bump Saratoga on TVG1, but we get on TVG2.
Yeah, okay.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the Downs of Albuquerque's import simulcast for 2023.
So move, Commissioner Smith. Second, Buffington.
That's been moved and seconded. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Okay, we're gonna move on now to 7D. Approvals for, excuse me?
As a Horsemen's Association approved this,
No, and
okay, that is fine, I just wanted to clarify.
no requirement. So, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Steve Dunak representing Sunray Park.
Welcome, sir.
So,
We have a, item D1 is request for approval of 2023 stall applications. Sir, anything to add?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Director Trejo, Sunray Park respectfully request approval of the 2023 library stall application form. Also, our 2023 state schedule, our 2023 New Mexico Breeders Futurity Nomination Form, 2023 Four Corners Futurity Nomination Form, and our 2023 simulcast import track and rate sales.
So, and I appreciate you doing that. So we've consideration of all 5 of those. I think we can do that together, if I'm not mistaken. So, are there any questions about any of those approvals? The stall application for Sunray Park, the stake schedule, New Mexico Breeders Futurity Nomination Blanks, Four Corners Futurity Nomination Blanks, or the import simulcast for 2023 Committee of the Commissioners?
Yeah, I had a
Commissioner Buckett.
Yeah, are there any changes from last year's stall application?
No, I just think the only thing that I changed was the dates. It's pretty much almost exactly the same.
I thought we had language in the stall application regarding simulcast agreement being approved before horses could enter into the grounds.
And
And I didn't see that there.
yeah, I think we kind of eliminated that considering what's going on right now.
So that
But
was,
we certainly could put it back in.
that was the question regarding changes.
If the commissioners want, we could always add it back in.
Have the Horsemen seen any of this?
Excuse me, I cannot have you interrupting the
I'm
commission.
sorry, you took away.
I can't have you interrupting the commission, please. Please, just. So Mr. Trejo, did you want to say anything on this topic? Mr. Trejo, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Just wanted to ask Mr. Fadunak. I saw two different deadlines on there. Just wondering if he could explain the deadline of Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023. And then up here on the right-hand side, it says, in applying for stalls, you must submit on or before March 14, 2022. Just wondering if it's not consistent, wondering if I'm missing something on that, or if it's just a quick edit.
I think it might have been just a quick edit. I think we just updated, essentially we just updated the, from last year's. And it could have been, I didn't do it, it was done by one of our administrative staff, so they may have put in the wrong date.
We need to have a correct stall application in front of us before we go.
Yeah, I understand.
So, Mr. Trejo, what do you suggest on this? Do we hold off on approving?
Yeah, we can hold off on approving it, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, and then they could submit it after this meeting with the correction. If you want to allow me to go ahead and approve and we ratify it in January, if that sounds like a good game plan.
That makes sense to me, but I don't want to approve a stall application that's not correct on its face in any way, right? Okay, so we're gonna table the stall application, assuming the commission is in agreement with that. Yes, we'll table the stall application and have that come back after and for a ratification, if you will, in January. As far as the state schedule is concerned, you guys are having the same basic stakes races for this year that you had for this upcoming meet as you did last year, right?
Mr. Chairman, we only thing we did was we eliminated 3 of our open stakes. We're anticipating greatly reduced.
Just raise your voice a little bit.
Yeah, we're anticipating greatly reduced first amount. So we wanted to take those 3 stakes races out and try to keep the integrity of the rest of the stakes. Those 3 were added last year. My understanding, they're really new. They were added last year when we had a lot more personally. So we've just taken them out.
So you're not cutting any of the breed stakes?
No. And we took the 3 opens out on purpose so that we could keep the integrity of the breed races.
When you say the integrity, keep the same purse level?
Yes, sir.
All right, any questions about the stake schedule, commissioners? No? Okay, any questions about the New Mexico Breeders' Futurity nomination blanks? Seeing none. Any questions about the Four Corners Futurity nomination blanks? Not seeing any. Any questions about their import simulcast? And you heard my earlier discussion with Mr. Cook about seeing if you guys are getting the best rates you possibly can, and I'm sure you are, because it affects your bottom line as much as anybody else. So
we try.
I get it. I get it. So then I'm going to entertain, and I believe Mr. Bustamante, this is okay if we approve these 4 together. I'm going to entertain a motion to approve D2, 3, 4, and 5, and that is the 2023 stake schedule, the 2023 New Mexico Breeders' Futurity nomination blanks, the 2023 Four Corners Futurity nomination blanks, and the 2023 import simulcast. All these for Sunray Park. Commissioner Smith. Second, Buffington. Okay, that's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none from the commission, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously. And D2, 3, 4. Okay, now, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on now to approvals for readjustments. Well, welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Commissioner. Chairman of the Commission. All read us downs. Requesting.
Yeah, I was thinking that I like that format is doing them all together. So let's go through each one. Tell us what your thoughts are.
Read us downs request approval of the 2023 quarter stall application. Request approval of the 2023 thoroughbred stall application. 2023 stake schedule, as well as the 2023 input. The only change to our stall application is it states based on a hair test, a positive hair test, not shall or could, you will be excluded off of a positive hair test. So that's the only change on the stall applications. The stake schedule, by the request of the New Mexico Breeders' Association, we shifted the Zia Patrician and Derby earlier, which would allow more time between their finals and the trials for the All-Americans. So if someone had a horse that was the competitive base to go into those trials, that gives them plenty of time. As well as when we did that, we put more time between the All-American trials and the finals to allow those babies to have more time between trials and finals. So as on the agenda, that is the only changes.
Okay, any questions about any of those stall applications for quarter horse and thoroughbreds and stay schedule and horse on?
I got a question.
Yes,
What's the difference between the thoroughbred application and the quarter horse application?
They're basically the same. The dates and deadlines are all the same. Barn area open is all the same. It lists on your applications any of our nominated races, as well as it does on the quarter horse application. So that there's really no difference except for when you look at the claiming price. There's a little bit difference there for the thoroughbreds, which we can allow horses from Turf Paradise to come here to compete as well. And the caliber of quarter horses, we've still got the higher claiming price. So trying to help with everything that's going on with Hastings to allow horses to come to compete in New Mexico.
Okay, I was just wondering if it had anything to do with this.
You know, it does, but it doesn't. You know, it's just opening the gates to allow more people to come here and compete.
Very well put.
Speaking of which, Kentucky is going to start racing quarter horses, right?
Yes, sir. They haven't announced their dates yet as to when that's going to happen. I know by attending the 𝐸𝐭 conference in Indiana, Commissioner Smith was there as well. There are some concerns about when they're going to do it. And right now they're pushing out that they're going to be running at 500,000 a day, but they're going to be running 6 days. You know, we don't know. And then looking at it from where we're at in the Southwest, including Louisiana, who are they going to get on top of? Are they going to try to stay off of everybody? So that's still out there, and everything that I've read and looked, and Tim Williams with Remington Park right now is consulting with them, and I told Tim, as soon as you know dates, you know, we'd really like to know when they are. So they're talking about the spring, and then next time they're talking about the fall. So we don't know. They're going to run.
I know Mr. Trejo is keeping an eye on that as well, just to see what happens and what kind of competition that creates for obviously us and the rest of the New Mexico tracks when it comes to quarter horses.
So I've got a question. So it's a whole separate meet just for quarter horses?
Yes, yes, sir.
Wow. Just 6 days, huh?
Well, they're gonna, what we're hearing, they're gonna do it this year at the Red Mile. And within their application that they submitted to the commission, there's a lot of people that aren't happy about the number of stalls that they're gonna have at the new ribbon track that they've created. So there's still some, I'd say, controversy out there about what's happening with this track and what they're going to do with it, you know, and the breeders are excited in Kentucky as well as some other breeders, but it's still fluid, I guess one would say.
Please keep us up to date on what you learn, and obviously indicate Mr. Trejo, because that has an effect.
Yeah, absolutely. It's someone for sure.
Any other questions from commissioners as far as this?
On the horse, on the hair testing, is it just the horse or the whole barn? Is the trainer?
Well, the stance that we've taken now, it'd be the horse. You know, and depending in Director Trejo and I've had conversation, you know, at some point in time, you know, we want the full effect. But I don't think we're quite there yet. We've done it before. And I think an honest answer, we're going to base it on the individuals. And if somebody's been a constant problem and we know it, then we'll get the horse and horses. You know, it could possibly even go the trainer the way it's worded in what we'll put into our horseman's guide. It'll say that as well.
So I've got a question there. If someone claims a horse and they take it into the barn and gets hair tested, I mean, would it be wise for that trainer to run a test before he buys a horse? I mean, how do you do that?
That's almost common practice nowadays.
Okay.
We've got a few that have come back and said, only had the horse for 3 weeks. You know, and our reply is, you know what's going on. You know, it's not like it just started yesterday, you know, and the fee that it costs you for a hair test, it's more of a time issue than it is actually a fee. So I just think it'd be wise that you test these horses before you step out. And within that barn area, you know, you think you know, but you don't know. So don't take that chance. Test the horse.
So let's say you go claim one, could you go test the hair on that horse before you claim it or not? I mean, or
He would need.
I mean, that'd be kind of tough because, you know, you go claim something, let's say $10,000 horse or whatever, and you test him and he's positive and you have a horse that's not with the darn really, because you can't run him nowhere.
So by the current rules, you're down for 60 days
Yeah.
for sure. And then at the track, and we will implement ours, then they're out for the season for ours.
That's right. So it's pretty unfair to these owners and trainers that are claiming the horses and they're not able to test that horse and make sure that he's free of them.
And I honestly, I think that has slowed down the claiming game some because people are unsure as you state to what they're going to receive.
Mr. Trejo, you have your hand raised. Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, in reference to Commissioner Sanchez's question, we do have a rule in the rule book that if someone does claim a horse and that horse is subject to a medication violation, that horse can be returned to the prior owners. It's a little more difficult with the hair testing part, but the track should have a box on their claim slips that indicate that if you're going to claim a horse, you want that horse sent to the test barn at your pay. And if it comes up positive, the horse can, by rule, be returned to the prior owner and trainer.
And you got to go through the penalty process.
There you go.
So, I think with your stall application, you put people on notice today. They tested positive on a dirty test on a hair test, and they're not going to be on the track.
You know, and I will give credit to Oklahoma and Texas as well. It's helped that they've started additional hair testing. Matter of fact, they come to Rio Downs in early August. Oklahoma did, and they pulled a bunch of hair and utilized our test form with their techs and everything. So that's helped. Getting that, we've got Texas, Oklahoma, and Louisiana's following suit as well. It's starting to come together better. It's not foolproof, but it's definitely helped.
All right. Anything else from the commissioners? Anything else, Mr. Trejo?
No, sir.
With that said, I'll entertain a motion to approve for Rio Downs, the 2023 quarter horse stall application, the 2023 thoroughbred stall application, the 2023 state schedule, and the 2023 import simulcast.
So move, Commissioner Smith. Second, Buffington.
That's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of E1 through 4 signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously. Okay. Moving on to item F. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Approvals for Zia Park. Is it you, Mr. Belcher? Or we're going to unmute you. Hold on just a second.
Okay, good morning. Can you hear me?
I can. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. For Zia Park, we request the ratification of approval of the amended 22 racing officials. We request the ratification of approval for our 2022 purse increases, which will start this Saturday, the 19th. And then we request approval for our 2023 import simulcast as submitted.
while we're discussing this, approvals for Zia Park, how are things going at your meet?
Really good. The weather finally hit us this morning. We had to delay training about an hour and a half because the track was frozen, but we got it going and everything's going really, really good.
Good to hear. Any questions from the commission about the approvals for Zia Park?
I got one question.
Commissioner Smith.
Your purse increase, a lot of people obviously are complaining about why you didn't do it earlier. My understanding is you hang these races, they don't go, so that the purses change, and so the money builds up and you gotta go back. And so you got more money, now you gotta increase the purses for the rest of the meet. So it's as much them not entering those races than it is you not paying attention to what's going on. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. That's part of it. And the other part of it is we had a great October in the casino. So that slot purse money went up significantly. It's a combination of the two. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Sanchez.
I've got a question on your service. I've got a couple of complaints, one this week and a couple of weeks ago about your track being really hard. And what kind of sand do you put in it? Do you put imported sand or get sand from the area or what?
Full disclosure, I don't know the answer to that question. I can find out, but
Would you please?
we haven't heard that. We've heard that the track is in the best shape it's ever been in. So we haven't heard that.
Have you had any more breakdowns than usual or not?
Not that I know of, sir.
But you look at that. See what compare this year to the previous years, in other words, as far as the horses breaking down.
I don't have that in front of me, but I.
No, just look it up, find out.
I think you would have that.
Well, the thing is, just look, get some information to us and that'd be fine. You don't have to do it right now.
Okay, yes, sir.
So Mr. Belcher, just two things, right? So Commissioner Sanchez wants you to follow up with us, get it back to Izzy, and that'll be distributed to Commissioner Sanchez. Basically, two issues. One is where are you getting the dirt from?
Not dirt, sand.
Sand.
No, it's not.
I know that. I'm saying it in general. Where are you getting the sand from? To be very clear, where are you getting the sand from? And what the comparison is as far as any horse breakdowns.
Yes, sir.
Last year, maybe the last 3 years would be great. Okay.
Yes, sir. And I'll get that to Executive Commissioner.
Okay. Is there any other questions about the 3 requests for Zia Park from the commission? Izzy, any comment from you? Any thoughts from you on Zia?
I think as far as catastrophic rates, we do have the data. We can get it up to date this year. I think we've had 3 quarter horses and 2 thoroughbred breakdowns. They had a pretty good year last year and hasn't been that bad of a year this year at all with the breakdown rates. We hear from the Jockeys Guild that the track is in fantastic shape. We haven't had any complaints from the jockeys, but jockeys may think one thing and horsemen may think another thing. So that's one of the ongoing true debates of a racetrack is the track condition. It's always going to be a debatable subject at standing at the rails, and it's just a matter of opinion on a lot of it.
The times, are they any faster than normal or not?
I think the times have been a little quick. I think the good horses are running pretty good times over there, and the not so fast horses are running modest times. So, it's all a matter of what you think is a fast time. You want way fast at Turf Paradise. That may not be the case. 107 is going to be fast at Turf Paradise, but they're running fairly true to form from what I've looked at on the Echo-based charts. But it is a fast track over there, and I don't know that they've had a lot of rain recently. But George Moncrief, the guy that handles the track, typically he knows what he's doing. He's very good at his job, and I'm glad that we have someone with that experience here in New Mexico working that racetrack over there, Zia, because it's tricky. When they open their meet, it's 9,500 degrees, and when they finish their meet. It's 14 degrees, 15 degrees. So he's got a tough job, but I think he stays on it pretty good. But bottom line is the Jockeys Guild has not complained about the racetrack to us. We had a conversation with them a few weeks ago on that subject, and not too bad from what they say.
Thank you.
And we do keep the statistics on breakdowns, so they do give you that.
Yes. Our chief investigator, Lisa Johnson, maintains all that data. The tracks are required to submit it to us. I believe right now, as we speak, we have 5 catastrophics. There are 3 quarter horses and 2 thoroughbreds so far. But we'll put that into a starts per 1,000 equation and see if we're running a higher rate this year than last year. So we do have last year's numbers. I just don't have them in front of me right now, what their catastrophics per 1,000 was last year. So we'll do that for you, and then we'll disseminate it to all the commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Thank you, Mr. Trejo. Anything else from the commission? Okay, with that, I'll entertain the part with the request for the ratification of approval of amended 2022 racing officials, the request for ratification of approval of the 2022 purse increase, and the request for approval of the 2023 import simulcast. I'll entertain such a motion.
So move, Commissioner Smith.
Second, Buffington.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously. Moving on to Sunland Park. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Wanted to invite you all to Sunland Park on January 1st for our New Mexico Racing Commission Stakes. Also, I'm looking forward to our walkthrough so we can brag on ourselves a little bit and show off some of our capital improvements. We're expecting, with our format change, we're expecting a little different crowd on certain days. So we've upgraded our Horsemen's Lounge for quarter horse days, put in a bunch of new TVs there. We also upgraded the roads in the barn area, did some upgrades and some lighting in the barns as well. Some LED lighting, make it much brighter. I think that's a safety issue, the darkness. So also they put some motorized apparatus on our windows in the turf club. So we're hoping on nice days we can open up our windows and have an open air experience, kind of like Ruidoso and Albuquerque, depending on the weather and the wind, of course. So we're very excited about the upgrades that we made. We're asking for approval today. Would you like me to do all these items at once?
Yes, please.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, we're asking for approval of our 2022-2023 jockey and exercise insurance, and this is pursuant to NMAC 15.2.2B11. We're also asking approval of our 2022-23 racing officials. We have some open positions there. I hope to have those filled in the next week or so, and I'll send those to Director Trejo and ratify at the January meeting. We're asking for approval of our 2023 import simulcast. And Commissioner Bregman, you asked about the different rates as well. Sunland Park's in a unique position. I'd like to think we get a better rate than some of the other tracks because we can use our signal as leverage because there's not a lot of competition in the winter time, and the gap between what we could sell our signal and what we're receiving is getting wider and wider, but at least we've been able to offset that over the years. But I welcome all the tracks getting together. I don't know if 𝐫𝐬𝐭 Park can because they're publicly traded, being part of the national, but I'd welcome trying to get together to negotiate better rates. But now we're kind of getting picked off with all the tracks joining some of these consortiums of NYRA, Monarch, Churchill, etc. Right. So there's some opportunities there perhaps. And last, we're asking for approval of payment of 2022-23 purses. And that is pursuant to NMAC 15.2.3D. It gives the horseman's bookkeeper the general authority in payment of purses.
Right off the bat, though, approval for G1, as you know, the rider insurance has been the subject of litigation, and what we're doing here is consistent with that opinion, based on the fact that the opinion stayed until and if the legislature makes a a change in the statute dealing with that issue, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So, you're confident, and I think the commission staff is that this is appropriate because the stay is in place right now. So, I just wanted to confirm that on the record. Any other questions about Sunland Park's request for approval of items 1 through 4? Okay, not seeing any, I'll entertain a motion to approve Sunland Park's 2022-2023 jockey and exercise rider insurance, to approve the 2022-23 racing officials, to approve the 2023 import Summerfest, and their request for approval of payment of the 2022-2023 purses.
So move, Commissioner Smith.
Second, Buffington.
Okay, that's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we're going to move on to item H. And pull that up here. And it's hearing officers' reports. Mr. Bustamante.
And Mr. Chairman, I believe that Assistant Attorney General 𝐼𝐬𝐬𝐿 will be presenting those. She is the prosecutor that represents the commission in these appeals. And she is online.
And you're online. Thank you. And I know that Counselor Billy Blackburn is here as well. So go ahead. And when I say your name, I always want to make sure I 𝐸𝐬𝐿𝐿.
𝐸𝐸𝐿, yes, like
Okay.
Lepesi, but not.
Go ahead. Why don't you present us, please, on this issue?
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm mostly here to talk about the hearing officer's report regarding the dismissal for Trey Wood. We filed a motion, the state filed a motion on July 8th requesting to dismiss the case as the appeal we argued was untimely. On July 12th, Mr. Blackburn requested an extension to respond, which was granted, and he was given August 8th as the new deadline to respond to the motion. No response was filed. Either by the 8th or after the 8th, Mr. Blackburn never requested any additional time to respond. And by September 19th, so more than almost 2.5 months later after the initial motion was filed, hearing officer Fitzwater filed his hearing officer's report, ultimately dismissing the case. We're asking that the commission accept this hearing officer's report because no objection to the hearing officer's report was filed within 10 days as contemplated by New Mexico Administrative Code 15-219-16. I'm sorry, 15E, which allows for a party to object to the hearing officer's report. And then 15-219-15F requires the commission to consider the proposal without additional argument or additional time after the time to object has expired. So we're asking respectfully that the commission, without further argument or granting additional time, go ahead and consider the hearing officer's report at the meeting today.
Okay. Mr. Blackburn, can you address the very specific issue of what the hearing officer dismissed this?
So the hearing officer dismissed the state filed a motion to dismiss the appeal in July of 2022 after Mr. Wood had served his entire time from 2019 to 2021, 18 months without ever having a hearing. The only issue that was left was the amount of fine he owed. But so the state filed, after 2.5 years, after setting the matter for a hearing and it being continued by the hearing officer himself, after taking the money for the appeal, filed a motion to dismiss.
in July. I sent, so going back is the hearing officer's report. Yes, the hearing officer did say that he had granted an extension, he hadn't heard anything and dismissed it. That's, so it's not like you had an opportunity to file objections to something that he had missed because the findings are just pretty simple. They filed this, you didn't file the response, dismissed. So that's what we're here today on. So as it relates to that, she is correct in that there was none filed. However, what I would submit that her argument is not, or the factual basis for that is not necessarily true, because when the motion to dismiss was filed in 2022 after a finding in July of 2019 that the horse tested positive, and after Mr. Wood had served his entire time without a hearing because the stay was requested and denied, I sent an email to the parties, including Judge Fitzwater and most of the members that are here today, the staff, requesting, under the rules, I could not find a place where it said when there's just a motion to dismiss. Under the rules, it didn't appear to be any time frame as to when the response had to be done. And this was submitted via email on July 12th saying, I cannot find a specific reference in the Racing Commission rules and regulations for a time period to file my motion to dismiss. Am I missing something, or can you locate a specific rule? And then I said, regardless of whether there is a specific rule or not, I'm going on vacation until July 30th, so I'd like to have some more time. And can we do it extension until August 8th? Judge the state replied, no problem. Judge Fitzwater said, absolutely. Then on same email chain, because dealing with Judge Fitzwater, that's the way you do a lot of these. Same email chain, on August 8th, I sent an email to the state saying, my family and I just spent from Saturday at 10 o'clock until this morning at around 2:30 at the emergency room because my 92-year-old mother had a stroke. She is now staying with us. Can I have a few days for an extension of time on this Trejo response? I just did the email chain. Little did I know that it only went to her. Her response was absolutely no problem. I'm okay with an extension. For those who know about the situation, if I could mark Mr. Baugh's Exhibit A and Mr. Heinrich's Exhibit B, that there was an additional stroke about 2 weeks later, to which no one could get hold of me for the better part of 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I thought the whole time that I had submitted this on the email chain. And obviously, when the hearing officer, and what normally happens is the hearing officer would say, okay, how much time do you need? That didn't happen because he didn't get it because I didn't do, reply to all. It only went to the state. Then comes in September, so it's due I think August the 8th. In September, Fitzwater dismisses that, and then that's when I'm going, okay, well, I go back and look, and obviously, it's right here. I use the same email chain, but did not include Judge Fitzwater only in the state. So as it relates to that, yes. To your specific little argument, yes. Was there no response filed? There wasn't. Is there an argument why? And my argument would be, I would request you send it back under those unique circumstances. So there's a lot more history behind that, but I don't know that you want to hear that this morning as to how you go from not having a hearing for over 1.5 years and your client serves the entire time. And so that there was another issue that that the executive director and I talked about was after the 18 months, I wasn't representing him basically initially, but he did file an appeal in January of 2020. And so anyway, he serves his entire time. There was no stay. Serves his entire time. There was no hearing between January 2020 until he was able to get up and ride in Remington in February of 2021. Stewards there and the stewards here were not going to let him get up and ride because he didn't pay the $15,000 fine. So I got a stay from the executive director to not pay that fine until we had a hearing, because we'd never had a hearing. The hearing was scheduled in April 2021. It was postponed the next week by the judge, and nothing happened from that time and almost a year and a half later when the state filed their motion to dismiss. That's all I have to say.
Going back to the Attorney General's office, any response, please?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. Just very briefly, the factual basis that Mr. Blackburn is discussing, that is all it should have been included, for the hearing officer's consideration. And while I have a lot of compassion for Mr. Blackburn and his personal situation, the time to object to the hearing officer's report has expired, and the Mr. Blackburn had the opportunity after the hearing officer's report was filed to object to it and to state everything that he stated, to tell hearing officer Fitzwater, that he missed the email and that there was a mistake, but that didn't happen. However, he did have the time to write to the commission to ask for the last hearing, to ask that this agenda item be tabled. So the rules are very clear that the party can object within 10 days to a hearing officer's report. And then under the rules, after the time to object has expired, the commission shall consider the proposal. It doesn't give any discretion to the commission under the rules. So again, I do have the utmost compassion for Mr. Blackburn and his situation, but it doesn't account for the failure to respond to the hearing officer's report in a timely manner. So we are asking again that the commission go ahead and consider the hearing officer's report and in its meeting today. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think it's just that applies to all the circumstances there.
No, absolutely.
I personally think that we have rules, and we're always accused somehow by somebody of not following our rules. And if we follow the rules like we're supposed to follow them, I think the Attorney General's office is correct.
I respectfully disagree as to whether or not, once the hearing officer's report is filed, that you have to file your objection. How can I file an objection to something because he basically ruled you didn't file anything? Okay, so you're supposed to say 10 days to say, yes, I didn't file anything, because it's already coming to you. So I know with other times dealing with the commission on these issues that I've dealt with Mr. Bustamante on other matters, you go through and you do the hearing officer's report, you grant the hearing officer's report, and then based upon the factual basis set forth in the hearing officer's report, you file a motion to reconsider, and then it comes back in front of the commission to decide whether those rules apply. So I was doing it now as opposed to then based upon these unique circumstances. That's all I'm saying. And we're not talking about a hearing on the merits. We're talking about a motion to dismiss that was filed 2 years late. So that's all I have to say. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Thank you. Commissioner Buffington, any questions?
I just got to know why it takes. There's no hearing or nothing. I just don't understand that. I mean, they just kept on just moving back, and you get no hearing on this.
Well, I think what happened, Commissioner Sanchez, was that when the appeal was filed in January of 2020, that's when I basically took over the case. In fact, I'm the one who brought the check over from my trust account to pay, and it got cash, by the way. but then COVID came. And so no one was doing hearings in the meantime, but the first hearing that ever occurred on this was April of 2021, after he had served his 18 months. He had served his entire time, the only thing that was left. Now, Mr. Trejo and I discussed this. The only thing left that was the $15,000 fine. I thought that was unfair that he did the entire time without a hearing and still had to pay the fine. So he agreed to a stay so that we could either, and we did stay, so that we could either have a hearing or maybe negotiate that. And that stay is still in effect until now. So, but the first hearing was in April of 2021 after he served his time and postponed by, so it didn't even happen during COVID. First hearing was in April of 2021. And at that time, with all due respect, the state had not filed a motion to dismiss for timeliness. So that's why we're here on a motion to dismiss in these hearing officers' reports now, Mr. Sanchez.
What's the pleasure of the commission?
I'm going to abstain from the vote.
Okay. Any other thoughts? My thought is I just practiced law a long time too, and I understand it. I completely have sympathy and compassion and understanding, Mr. Blackburn, for your predicament here. At the same time, though, I feel like we should all.
I'd like to hear from Mr. Trejo on this.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Commissioner Sanchez, it is right that the appeal was filed in January, I guess, and right about that time, everything was shut down. And since this case was one of the newest ones that was appealed, it got kicked to the back of the bus. We had other people waiting in line that had hearings scheduled during the pandemic. And so we just put it in order. So Denise does a good job of trying to schedule these things. I push her real hard to get these things scheduled. And because once we got up and running and figured out how we could do hearings through Zoom, we started conducting hearings by Zoom rather than telephones. So that took a little time to get that up and running, as we're going into a new frontier with using technology to use for hearings and other things and other meetings. So that's why there was a delay there. He come out in January with the appeal. We get shut down in March, and then he's at the back of the bus. So that's why it took so long, because we were at a standstill as far as doing any hearings during the pandemic. So that's why it took so long. And Billy Blackburn is correct. I thought it fair to stay his fine of the $15,000 so he could run and keep on running his business as usual. So he's got to run plenty of horses in the last year and a half, and quite successfully as well. So it's unfortunate circumstances that put this hearing in a delay pattern, but we dealt with the pandemic the way we could best.
Bregman, if I may, this is Sally Malave.
Yes, from the Attorney General's office, yes.
Yes, I would just note for the commission that your rules clearly state that a party of record may not later than 10 days after the date of service of a hearing officer court.
Sally, can you start just over again, just because it was breaking up what we didn't hear?
Okay, I would just note that the rules provide, the commission's rules provide that within 10 days after a hearing officer's report is filed, that a party of record may file objections to the hearing officer's report. So in terms of there not being any clarity as to when objections were due, your rules clearly state that they're 10 days after the date of service of the hearing officer's report.
I've never disputed that. I mean, it's not the issue. I've never disputed that, and that's why we came here today. So I've already conceded that. I would just also say, as I told you before, that the state agreed to an extension. It wasn't on the same email chain, so anyway,
Not to that.
yes, no, not to that, you're right.
Alright, They did not, the state did not agree to extension on the 10 days, right?
No, they did not.
Okay, and you didn't ask for it.
No, I didn't ask for one.
Okay, so the 10-day rule is what we're talking about here, because that's the opportunity to file objections to this order of dismissing the appeal, and that was not done, right? I
No,
mean,
there
just
was
to be
no
clear.
objections that were filed. No,
Okay.
you're absolutely right.
All right, so no objections were filed. So, I don't know what the pleasure of the commission is, but I would entertain a motion to uphold the dismissal. The appeal.
Why wasn't it filed?
Well, the way you're filing objections to if there's anything wrong with the hearing officer's report. There was nothing wrong with the hearing officer's report. Did we? He dismissed it because there was no response filed. It wasn't like, so he was correct. I did not go back and say, here's the reason why, because it was already there. And so it was already scheduled for a hearing in front of you. So, if there's an opportunity to make those arguments, it can be just in front of you because you guys haven't passed upon that. But, usually the objections are based upon the testimony that occurred during the course of the hearing, because we never had a hearing. Did this person say this or this person say that? So that's why I didn't do it.
I think
That's Commissioner Branch.
I think that what went on was excusable with COVID. Everything was a mess, and I think it's excusable. I think it'd be harsh to allow a motion to dismiss to stand.
Okay. I have not, okay, any other discussion? I have not heard someone support what I would entertain. So,
I would entertain the motion. I would make that motion.
So there's a motion, the one I suggested, there is a motion to uphold the hearing officer's report, which is a dismissal of this appeal. Is there a second for that? Okay, this is gonna be fun. So if there's no second for that, is there another motion to be made? I think Commissioner Branch, if you'd like to make your motion.
Well, my motion would be that I believe the motion to dismiss should be just denied, and that the case be reinstated.
So if I could just kind of clarify, your motion then would be not to accept the hearing officer's report of dismissal and send it back to the hearing officer, all right?
Correct.
For
reinstatement.
To reinstate the appeal. Is there a second for that motion? Okay, we have one commissioner abstaining. We have, so any further discussion on that? So there's been a motion and a second. So all those in favor of Commissioner Branch's motion, which would in fact send this back and reopen the case and not agree with the hearing officer's report, all those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no.
No.
So that motion fails on a 2-2 tie vote. Okay, Sally, help. So my understanding is that right now we have failed to Mr. Bustamante or Sally, if you will, I would like a little bit of clarification from the attorney. So we have, again, I mean, we have a motion, the motion's been denied to send it back. It seems to me like we don't have the votes for the, well.
You can try it again. Try your entertain a motion to deny.
My motion is to deny or to adopt the
Hearing officer's report.
Yeah, and so as the chair, I'm allowed to make the motion myself, so I'm gonna make that motion. Is there a second?
I will second.
Okay, so that's been moved and seconded. So all those in favor of adopting the hearing officer's report signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay, so it's Commissioner Branch, are you voting on the last one?
My motion is to,
No, wait, on my motion, your vote is
no.
no. So that's failed 2-2 as well. Okay, so now, neither one of those motions is accepted. So,
I think with all due respect, the rules say that it needs unfortunately, and these have happened before when there was not a full commission.
Yeah.
And I think the rule specifically says it has to be a majority of the four, or otherwise it goes back to, it's negated somehow. I don't know.
well, and I'm not gonna base any decision right now. Based on that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if they have anything so specifically.
Let's do this, okay? For the time being, I'm gonna let you, Mr. Blackburn, and the Attorney General's office research a little bit right now, but we're gonna, if we can table this for right now temporarily, we'll bring it back, we'll put it on the end of the agenda, and we'll come back for this one. And so we know where we stand. We've taken 2 votes, neither one of them passed. So why don't we put this on the end of the agenda now? We'll move this to the end of the agenda to come back and readdress this as well, okay? Does that sound good with you, commissioners, right now?
This afternoon, is that what you're talking about?
This afternoon,
Okay,
today.
sure.
We're gonna come back to this today.
Okay.
So we'll put this now at the end of the agenda. We'll be back to revisit it. So for right now, this motion is tabled to the end of the meeting. Or this issue is tabled to the end of the meeting. Sorry, moving on. We're going to go to item H2, the hearing officer's report, and that is the Martin Arona Sr. and Victor Lozano. Who is going to be presenting this to us?
I think Ms. LaCoe will also present.
Ms. LaCoe, can we hear from you on this matter, please?
Thank you, commissioners. We don't have any objection to anything that has been filed, so we would ask that the commission consider the hearing officer's report in its entirety. And that is all. Thank you.
Adopt it. Your office has to adopt the hearing officer's report.
Yes, Commissioner, sorry. Yes.
Any questions from the commission on this? Okay. Hearing none, is there anybody here to speak on the other side of this? There is, and you're on Zoom, please raise your hand. Not seeing anybody at this point, so, any questions from the commission? Okay, I'd entertain a motion to adopt the hearing officer's report in the matter of H2, which is Martin Arona Sr. and Victor Lozano.
So move, Commissioner Smith.
Second, Buckingham.
That's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor of adopting the hearing officer's report on Martin Arona Sr. and Victor Lozano, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes 4-0. So next on the agenda is the closed session is listed. So I would entertain the following motion that the commission go into a closed executive session to discuss only those matters listed on the agenda as closed pursuant to section 10-15-1H. 1, to discuss matters related to the issuance, suspension, renewal, or revocation of a license. 2, to discuss limited personnel matters. 3, to deliberate in connection with an administrative adjudicatory proceeding. And 4, to discuss attorney-client privilege matters pertaining to a threatened or pending litigation in which the commission is or may become a participant. I'll entertain such a motion. So moved, Commissioner Smith.
Second, Buckingham.
That's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes 4-0. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be going into executive session. It is currently on the agenda for 10:45 to 12:30 p.m. I don't know if it'll take that long. regardless of it may go past that. Regardless, we will be in touch by sending out a mass email to let everybody know when we're coming out of executive session. So thank you all, and this meeting is now closed for executive session. We'll take a 5-minute break.
Record.